Every nation tells a story about how it became powerful, but some chapters never make it into the textbooks. This is one of those forgotten chapters. A chapter built not on ideals, but on profit. Profit from a trade America almost never talks about: the opium trade, and the fortunes it created for early American elites. Before America became a superpower, China was the richest empire on earth. China produced the world's finest goods, and they demanded only one thing in return: silver. This created a global crisis for Western merchants. China was getting richer. The West was bleeding silver. They needed something China couldn't resist. And they found it: opium. Opium became the perfect weapon of trade. America entered the trade quietly and profitably. With every shipment, American merchants grew richer. Opium, silver, Chinese goods, American wealth. This triangle became the foundation of early American fortunes. Families who profited from this trade became early financial dynasties. These fortunes later funded banks, universities, and shipping empires. Not every elite family participated, but the ones who did gained a generational head start. Meanwhile, in China, addiction was exploding. Families collapsed, workers collapsed, entire provinces suffered. China begged the West to stop, but money speaks louder than pleas, and the trade kept growing. This wasn't just trade, it was a system powerful enough to reshape nations. By the 1800s, America's wealth was rising, and China's stability was falling. This part of history almost never appears in US textbooks, but it explains more than most people realize. This is how American power quietly grew from a trade they never teach in school. Opium wasn't just a product, it became an empire, and American merchants were right in the middle of it. The American clippers were the fastest ships of their time. They didn't carry passengers, they carried fortunes. Opium, weapons, silver, secrets. This was early American global business. But America wasn't alone. Britain industrialized the opium trade, and soon, America and Britain became partners in profit. Together, they flooded China with opium. Addiction spread faster than any empire expected. It weakened soldiers, workers, officials. Entire villages fell into chaos. China begged the West to stop the trade. But addiction made too much money. Profit was winning, and China had had enough. The destruction of opium triggered a global explosion. Britain responded with war. The Opium Wars began, and while America didn't fire shots, it profited from the chaos. American firms expanded into the treaty ports Britain opened. They built the first US business networks inside China. And they did it on the back of a collapsing empire. Meanwhile, opium wealth back home was transforming America. It funded shipping companies, banks, Ivy League universities, and early American industry. The wealth multiplied through generations, and the original source became unmentionable. The opium chapter was sealed away. But its consequences in China were just beginning. Addiction turned into rebellion, rebellion into collapse, and collapse into a century of humiliation, a century China never forgot. Meanwhile, America soared. Two nations changed forever, by a trade no one teaches. The opium trade ended, but its shadows never left. It shaped economies, institutions, and nations for generations. This isn't just history, it's the blueprint of modern power. And much of that blueprint still exists today. The wealth created in the 1800s didn't disappear. It compounded. It built America's early banks. It funded America's first global companies. It supported universities that shaped U.S. leadership, and it quietly cemented America's place in global trade. But the origins of that wealth were quietly erased. Meanwhile, China lived with the consequences: addiction, rebellion, foreign control, a century of humiliation. This history shaped China's identity permanently, and it shaped China's view of the West. America moved forward. China rebuilt from ruins. Two nations, two destinies, one forgotten story connecting them. But the echoes of that trade still appear today. In geopolitics, in economics, in global power struggles. The opium trade taught China one lesson. A lesson China still follows today. And it taught America something too. That global power is built slowly, strategically, silently. Not through war, but through trade, through money, through influence, and sometimes through the trades that history tries to hide. This forgotten chapter shaped the world we live in today. It shaped America's rise. It shaped China's pain. And it shaped a rivalry that still defines the 21st century. A rivalry built on a story America rarely tells, and China will never forget. This is the trade that built American power, the one they never teach in school.